My daughter got married in Malibu last summer. They printed my name on a seat in the front row, but I was not allowed to sit in it. I watched the entire ceremony from the wooden kitchen chair in my small place in Santa Barbara. Knees pulled close. Laptop glowing on the counter like it was mocking me. When the live stream began, the first thing I saw was my own name, Elyndra Mayfield. Neat black lettering on a folded place card. Front row. A spot of honor I did not inhabit. I leaned closer, squinting. The camera drifted again, and there it was a second time. That same empty chair upright, waiting, untouched, still empty. I whispered. My own voice startled me. I tried to laugh, but it caught in my throat. The officiant greeted the guests. People settled. Someone brushed against the chair with my name and gently straightened it, as if preparing for a woman who had simply stepped away to fix her lipstick. They were expecting me on paper, just not in real life. It's fine, I murmured. That was what I had told Adrienne the day before when she called. Her voice had wavered. Mom, there's no seat left. Everything's full. You should just stay home. I said the same thing now, to no one and everyone at once. It's fine. My daughter walked into frame a few minutes later. Hair pinned high. Smile bright enough to blind. She did not look toward the empty chair. No one did. A cheer rose. The minister spoke. Rings were exchanged. Applause washed over the screen in steady waves. And all the while, my name sat there as a reminder that a mother could exist in print, but nowhere else. By the time the live stream ended, my fingers had gone cold. I closed the laptop with both hands, easing the lid down like I was saying goodbye to something fragile. I stood for a long moment, palms pressed against the counter, letting the silence fill the room. I knew, right then, that I would not call her again, not tonight, but not tomorrow. Not for a long while. I turned away from the dark screen and walked toward the hallway, already feeling the distance settle like dust on my shoulders. The day before the wedding, I had just finished folding laundry when my phone rang. Adrienne's name lit up the screen. I felt that old pull in my chest, the one that made me hope before I ever thought to protect myself. Hey, Mom, she said. Her voice was tight, careful, like she had practiced the sentence in front of a mirror. Hi, sweetheart. Everything ready for tomorrow? A pause, then a small exhale. We forgot to save you a seat. I held the phone tighter. What do you mean? Forgot. There are no seats left, she said quickly. Everything's full. The planner can't add anyone else, and the venue has strict limits. It's just easier if you stay home. Who decided that I asked? Silence stretched across the line. I could hear her swallow. Then a soft, brittle. It's complicated. In the background, a man's voice, her fiancé. Nolan. Or maybe the planner muttered, just tell her, it's fine. She'll understand. Adrienne's breath hitched. Mom, I promise I'll make it up to you. I stared at the laundry on the table. The neat stacks I had made for no reason except the habit of caring. All right, I said, if that's what you want. It's not what I want, she whispered, but the words sounded borrowed. It's just how things worked out. I forced my voice to stay steady. I hope everything goes beautifully. She hesitated. Thank you, Mom. We hung up. My home felt smaller all of a sudden, every wall pushing in an inch at a time. I tried to pour myself tea, but my hands shook. By the time the kettle clicked off, I had already lost the taste for it. Later that evening, my phone buzzed again. A message from my cousin Lila appeared. Look, final seating chart. So excited for tomorrow. She attached a photo. I opened it. There, in the center of the VIP row, printed clearly in elegant script, was my name. Not forgotten. Not missing. Placed. Assigned. Intended. I stared at it until the screen dimmed and my reflection replaced the neat little rectangle that had erased me. I was 28 when Adrienne's father died. One morning he kissed my forehead before work, and by noon a state trooper was knocking at my door. After the funeral, people said things like, "You're strong, Elyndra," as if strength were something you could choose like a new detergent. I moved us into a small apartment on the east side of Santa Barbara and learned how to make every dollar stretch until it thinned between my fingers. At night, I worked the front desk at a roadside motel, during the day, on weekends. I cleaned beach rentals for families who never learned my name. Adrienne would sit in the corner with coloring books while I scrubbed sinks scented with lemon cleaner. One evening, when she was 9, she asked, "Do we have to use so many coupons?" "Mom, we do." I said, "They help." She nodded, but her eyes darted to the other shoppers' carts, full of things we could not touch. A few years later, she stood beside our rusty sedan, arms folded. "Could we get a nicer car?" "When we can," I answered. I tried to smile. "It makes a sound when you turn," she muttered. "Kids laugh." I opened the door for her. "It gets us where we need to go." She got in without looking at me. Hand-me-down dresses, clearance shoes, school trips she pretended she did not want. I told myself she would understand someday, that she would look back and see the threads I held together with tired hands. Last night, unable to sleep after the seating chart message, I opened an old box in my closet. Inside was a folded letter written in Adrienne's looping 12-year-old handwriting. "Mom, I'll never be ashamed of you. Never." I read it twice, then pressed the paper flat against my palm. The promise felt warmer than the room around me, and crueler in a way I could not name yet. I sat on the floor, the letter trembling between my fingers, listening to the quiet house settle around me like a truth I had tried too long to ignore. The morning after the wedding, my phone chimed with new messages. The family group chat was busy again. Aunt Carol wrote, "Malibu was gorgeous yesterday." Someone else added, "Adrienne looked like a movie star." Photos rolled in one after another, Adrienne laughing, Nolan holding her hand, guests clinking glasses. Nobody asked where I had been. I stared at the screen until the words blurred, then set the phone face down. I did not mute the chat. I did not delete it. I simply let it speak without me. Around noon, my sister called. I let it ring. After the 4th attempt, she left a voicemail. "Hey, Lynn, just checking in. Call when you can?" Her tone was light, casual, like she already knew I would not. That evening, I typed a message to Adrienne. "I hope your day was everything you wanted." My thumb hovered over send. I imagined her reading it while sitting on a balcony overlooking the ocean, nodding politely before handing the phone back to whoever stood beside her. I deleted the message word by word. Days passed. Then weeks. I kept expecting instinct to take over, expecting myself to slip and call her out of habit. But every time the urge came, something inside me folded in on itself. At the mailbox one afternoon, I heard 2 neighbors talking by the fence. Strange her mother didn't show. One woman said, the other answered, "I heard she wasn't invited." Or maybe she didn't want to be seen. I paused, pretending to check coupons. They never noticed me. Their voices drifted on in careless threads, weaving a narrative none of them had bothered to ask me about. That night, I opened a blank message again. "How are you feeling after everything I deleted it?" Another, "I'm here if you need me." Deleted. A third, "I miss you." Deleted so quickly, the screen barely caught up. The silence became something I chose. Not a punishment. Not a plea, just a space where I could finally hear myself think, without waiting for someone else to fill the air. I set the phone on the table, screen dark, and let the quiet settle exactly where it belonged. I woke one morning and realized I had nowhere to rush. No one to update, no calls to wait for, The quiet felt strange, almost loose in my hands. I put on my old walking shoes and drove to Shoreline Park, telling myself it was only for fresh air. A small group gathered by the benches. Mostly older women, mostly strangers. One of them, a sharp-eyed woman with silver hair pulled into a low knot, waved me over. "You knew?" she asked. "I think so." I said, "Good. We need someone who walks slower than I do." She smirked. "I'm Ruth Ann." Her humor cut through the stiffness in my chest. We walked side by side. Not fast, but steady. She talked about her grown sons who barely remembered her birthday, and I told her nothing about Adrienne, only that I was trying to start my mornings differently. "You keep showing up," Ruth Ann said. "That's the trick." Later that week, I signed up for a watercolor class at the community center. The room smelled faintly of old paper and coffee. I tried to paint a coastline, but everything came out flat. The teacher, a soft-spoken man named Daniel, paused behind me. "You're painting what you see," he said. "Try painting what it does to you." "I'm not sure I know how." I admitted. "You will. Your hand knows more than your eyes." I stayed after class, practicing short strokes, trying not to judge the uneven lines. Something about it, quiet work, quiet space, felt like breathing differently. One morning after class, a woman approached me near the exit. She squinted as if placing me. "You're Adrienne's mother." Right, I saw photos of the wedding. It looked stunning. "You must be proud." Her words landed like a stone I had no hands free to catch. I smiled anyway. It was something. She nodded and walked off, unaware of what she had stepped on. When I reached my car, the watercolor paper on the passenger seat caught the morning light, and I felt the beginning of something shifting under my feet like new growth beneath old soil. I wandered into the antique shop on State Street because the air outside felt too heavy. Rows of lamps, clocks, and forgotten trinkets lined the shelves. I was about to leave when I noticed a small brass lantern tucked behind a stack of chipped picture frames. Its glass dome caught the light in a soft, warm flicker. The shopkeeper noticed me holding it. "Lovely piece," he said. "Came from an estate sale up in Goleta. Works. 2. I don't need anything fancy." I told him, "It's not fancy," he replied. "It's steady." That word caught me. I bought it without thinking, carried it home in both hands like it might slip through my fingers. I set it on the porch table, unlit, waiting for a moment that felt like mine. A week later, I started attending budgeting classes at the community center. The instructor, a brisk woman named Marla, flipped through worksheets. "You'd be surprised what stability looks like when you stop apologizing for needing it," she said as she circled my numbers. "You're doing better than you think." I never believed I had much. I admitted. "You have enough," she said. "Now learn to claim it." Her certainty steadied me more than I expected. With her help, I planned a short trip to Monterey, alone. No schedules. No explanations. When I mentioned it to Ruth Ann during our morning walk, she grinned. "Look at you, taking off without asking permission from anyone. I guess I am. You deserve a little living, Lynn. We all do." 2 days before my trip, I stopped at a cafe near Mission Street for a sandwich. As I waited, someone touched my elbow. "Elyndra," a voice said. I turned to find Laura Mendel, an old coworker from the motel. Her eyes widened. "My goodness, you vanished. Is everything okay?" For a moment, I forgot how to answer. People rarely noticed when I slipped out of their lives. "I'm fine," I said eventually. "Just quieter these days." She studied me for a beat, as if trying to see the truth behind my calm, then nodded and squeezed my hand before leaving. I returned home that evening and placed the brass lantern beside the door, its glass catching the last trace of daylight. I was packing for Monterey when my phone buzzed. I almost ignored it out of habit. But the preview showed Adrian's name. She had posted a photo of herself on a balcony in Malibu, smiling tightly at the camera. The caption read, "So much beauty, so much change." Another photo appeared an hour later, her holding a wine glass, eyes swollen as if she had been crying. "Everyone leaves eventually," she wrote. I stared at the words until the screen dimmed. The tone was wrong. Defensive. Fragile. Nothing like her usual polished confidence. I didn't comment. I didn't like the post. I just set the phone down and kept folding clothes for my trip. The next day, during my budgeting class, Marla leaned toward me. "You know that family your daughter married into," I stiffened. "What about them?" She lowered her voice. "People are talking. Something about financial trouble." I heard her husband's parents cut back their support. Apparently, they told the couple they needed to stand on their own 2 feet. I kept my expression calm. But the words pricked like needles. "I don't know much about their situation." I said. Marla nodded, though her eyes searched my face longer than I liked. "Well, it sounds messy." That evening, Ruth Ann sent me a link. "Saw this online." Her message read, "Not sure you want to, but thought you should. Against my better judgment." I opened it. A video played Adrienne at what looked like a dinner party. She sat with 3 friends, a full glass of champagne in hand. One man asked, "So, is your mom coming to Malibu again?" Adrienne laughed too loudly. "My mom? She'd probably bring coupons to the bar." Can you imagine? Someone else chimed in. "She sounds adorable." "She is not adorable," Adrienne snapped. "She's complicated." The word chipped something inside me, the tone even more. I closed the video. The echo of her laughter sharp in my ears, not the warm laugh I knew. Something brittle, performed. It hurt. But beneath the hurt was something else, a slow, unmistakable shift. Her perfect Malibu world was starting to crack, and she was running out of people to blame for the pieces spreading at her feet. The call came at 12:47 in the morning. I had been half asleep on the couch, a blanket pulled to my chin, when the phone lit the dark room. I almost let it ring, but then I saw her name. I answered softly, "Adrian." A shaky breath filled the line. "Mom." I did not know who else to call. I sat up, heart pounding. "What happened?" "It is all falling apart," she said. Her words broke in uneven pieces. "Nolan left 2 weeks ago. His parents will not help us anymore. I am behind on rent. I have credit card debt. I cannot sleep. I feel like everything is slipping through my fingers." I pressed the phone tighter to my ear. "I am sorry you are going through this." Silence. Long enough that I thought the call had dropped. Then she whispered, "Why did you leave me, Mom? Why did you stop calling? Did I do something wrong?" That question pressed against every bruise I had tried to ignore for years. "You did not do something wrong," I said. "You did many things that hurt, but the worst pain was how easy it became for you to move around me. You did not forget my seat at your wedding, Adrienne. You forgot I was a person." She sucked in a breath, and the sound cracked. "I did not mean to, I know," I said, "but meaning and doing are not the same." A sob escaped her, then another. I let her cry, listening to the soft, breaking sounds of a daughter who had finally run out of places to hide. When she could speak again, her voice was small. "Can I come home?" I closed my eyes. There were so many answers I could give, old ones, reflexive ones that would make everything easier for her and harder for me. But ease was what had broken us in the first place. "Not to the old home," I said. "That place does not exist anymore. But you can come see me when you are ready. Truly ready," she breathed out. A fragile exhale that felt like a hand reaching across a dark divide. "Okay," she whispered. "I will try." The line stayed open, quiet but alive, as if neither of us wanted to move first. Adrienne arrived 2 days later. No announcement. No dramatic entrance, just a soft knock on my door late in the afternoon. When I opened it, she stood there clutching the strap of her purse like it was the only thing keeping her upright. "Hi, Mom," she said. Her voice was thin. "Can I come in?" I stepped aside. She walked slowly, as if the house remembered her better than she remembered herself. The Malibu glow was gone. Her hair was unstyled, her eyes puffy, her clothes plain in a way I had never seen on her. She sat at the kitchen table and rubbed her palms together. "I owe you an apology," she said. "A real one. Not the kind I rehearsed in my car. I waited. I let people decide things for me," she went on. "Nolan, his family, the planner. I kept thinking they knew better. I wanted everything to look perfect. I did not think about how it felt for you." Her voice faltered. "I thought you would understand. I thought you would keep forgiving me like you always did." I folded my hands. I did understand, for a long time. But forgiveness is not the same as disappearing. She looked up quickly. I know that now. I can love you," I said. "But I will not disappear for you again. I cannot go back to being someone you fit into small spaces." Adrienne nodded, tears slipping down her cheeks. "I do not want that," she whispered. "I want to rebuild this, for real this time." I stayed quiet, letting her find her next words. "Could we maybe start with something small?" she asked. "Weekly visits or calls. Something steady. Something I do not break." She sounded terrified of the answer. I took a breath. "If we do this, it has to be mutual, consistent, respectful." "Yes," she said immediately. "Yes, I can do that. I want to do that." Her relief filled the room like a warm exhale. She reached for her cup of water with trembling fingers, grounding herself. "I know I have ruined things," she said. "I want to make something new, even if it takes a long time." I nodded slowly, letting her see that I heard her. I lit the brass lantern just as the last line of daylight thinned across the street. The flame rose slowly, steady and warm, filling the porch with a soft amber glow. I had waited months for the moment to feel right. Tonight, it finally did, not long after. Footsteps approached. Adrienne stopped at the gate, eyes fixed on the lantern. She looked unsure, almost breathless. "I saw the light," she said quietly. "I thought it meant I could come in." "It does," I answered. "But remember, this light is for me." She nodded, the words settling into her. "I get that," she whispered. I think I finally do." We stepped inside. She sat at the table like she was afraid the chair might vanish under her. "Everything fell apart," she admitted. "Nolan walked out. His parents said they would not support us anymore. Friends I thought were close stopped answering. I owe more money than I want to say out loud. I am starting from nothing." "I know," I said softly. "I did it to myself," she continued. "I chased a life that did not include you. And when it collapsed, I realized how fragile it all was." I placed a plate of simple food in front of her pasta. Nothing fancy. She looked at it like it was a kindness she had forgotten how to receive. "I want you in my life," she said, "but I do not want you to fix it. I need to do that part myself. I can give you connection." I said, "Not rescue. That is enough," she answered. "More than enough." We ate slowly, talking between small silences. The heaviness in her shoulders loosened. The stiffness in mine eased. There were no dramatic revelations, no sweeping promises, just two people trying to find each other again, inch by inch. When she finally stood to leave, she touched the lantern on her way out. "It suits you," she said, the warmth, the steadiness. After she left, I stepped onto the porch. The lantern glowed against the dark. unwavering. I did not reach to turn it off. I let it shine, gentle and constant, exactly where it belonged. If my story touched you, let me know and share your thoughts. Your support means more than you can imagine.